What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast episode 153. I'm your host, Ainsley Bowden, and it is a lovely Saturday here with a lot of game news to talk about, as well as some fine guests as well. Before we get to them, I got to go to my partner in crime, going from a new location today, looking very relaxed, my friend.
I'm going to fall asleep. There's a good chance I just fall asleep dead in the middle of this show, man.
I don't always drink beer.
Yeah.
When I do. I drink no Sekis.
The only problem is, like, this really shows off my titty. Like, it's really bright over here, so I gotta.
Here's what I thought you were gonna say shirt. I was like,
yeah,
well, that too.
He had to go the other direction.
Like, yeah, right here. You can really see that right one kind of sticking out. But I'll take care of that next time because this is actually kind of comfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the Series X PS5 behind you. You got a fire. You need to just get a fire going. You'd be good to go.
Yeah, I'll put some stuff up maybe next time because this is. I'm not even joking. This is all right. I sit on a wooden chair normally with like no space.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. You're good. All right. Joining us again, our partner in crime. Everyone here knows him as Mr. Dr. Mo himself, host of the Backlog Chronicles. What is happening, my good friend?
What's up, boys? What's up, everyone in chat? Good to be here again with you guys. Let's get it going, baby. I'm excited, man.
I see Chief behind
you.
It's
been a while, man.
It has been a while. Yes, it has.
Saturdays are usually spoken for with the wife, but she's been a little more lenient, so, I'm glad to be here, man.
Excellent. Good to have you. And, Sarko said, a lot of game news, not a lot of hair. Very true. And that's why I brought our other good friend Hector on. So he's the only... So Hector Ramirez coming at us for the first time today. He is part of lordsofgaming.net. Obviously, everyone here knows our good friends over there. So thanks for joining us for the first time, man.
Thank you for the invite. And I tell you right now, if it was pre-pandemic, Hector, it'll be a whole different story in terms of hair. But no, thank you for the invite. Again, from lordsofgaming.net, the assistant editor over there, Branch the Iron Lords podcast. Thank you guys for joining with me today or in this podcast. I'm really excited. Thank you for the invite. I'm really excited for this. It's good. We got a lot of great topics.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about. So we're going to get into that really soon, including Resident Evil Village, of course, and some news for some other big franchises. But before we do that, since you're a first-time guest, man, always like to quickly kind of go through what got you into gaming at the start or when you started. So let's start there, man. How did you get into this crazy hobby of ours?
This is where this is where we judge you.
So let's see. If I was born in the 80s, I'm good. If I'm 90s, I'm like okay.
Pretty accurate. 70s would be better, but we're old over here.
No, I grew up first with the SNES. In the basement, just hooking up to just an old TV and playing some Mega Man and Paperboy.
Sure. That
bled into PS1 where I literally had this demo. Maybe some people may know what it's called, or at least recognize it. Is Jam Pack, where it just had a whole bunch of demos in one disc.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just cycle between Spyro, Spider-Man, some snowboarding stuff, and then I kind of just branched off from gaming a little bit. And then I used to go to Blockbuster all the time.
Yeah.
That's where I got my games. I was little, so I couldn't afford my own games. And then next thing you know, all these PS2 games just start appearing up in Blockbuster. I'm like, where are the PS1 stuff? And then that's when I begged my parents for a PS2, and then I got literally the game of my childhood dreams, which was Kingdom Hearts, and it was a wrap from there. I was just a gamer ever since then, just completely invested into the story, the characters, the worlds, everything. And then next thing you know, I'm just like, I wanted to see how can I turn this into more of like just a hobby, maybe actually something professional, and that's where it led me to writing. And then I've just been writing ever since the high school, college days.
That's awesome, man. That's
awesome,
man. So I guess it goes without saying, and I actually forgot that you're such a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. So would you say that's your favorite franchise all time?
Oh yeah, I mean it's right there, all right there. The collection, and it's growing. I've been a fan ever since 2002, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then would you have a favorite console all time? Or platform?
It would have to be PS2, really.
Okay.
That was like really kind of like the start of everything. Where Kingdom Hearts, then Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy 10, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, A little bit of Ratchet and Clank. There's also a whole bunch of games I like played on that. But yeah, that's really all started and kind of just where like it bled for me being like a hardcore gamer. Like it was originally just I'm just okay right now. Like I'm fine. Like I like gaming. I like more watching Nickelodeon and Rugrats and all that stuff. You know, I delve into my cartoons and the anime, but no, that's when gaming like really kicked off for me. No, it's just like okay, there's something here that's substance and can actually be talked about and be like fall in love with. Like who knew that games could be so narratively driven and focused and just have so much impact and meaning. Yeah, that's where it all started from there.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, I mean, PS2 is a legendary console. You know, one of the all-time greats without a doubt. So many franchises and games on that. And Jack, you mentioned Jak and Daxter. Man, that's an IP I hope Naughty Dog brings back at some point, or even if they hand it off to someone else. That's just a fantastic series. Love those games. Well, cool, man. Imagine. So say it again. I'm sorry.
You have to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so, because that's a great one. It's great to see Crash and Spyro and those other ones coming back. Now we need Banjo and we need Jak and Daxter. So, all right, why don't we talk about what we're currently playing, fellas, and that'll lead us into Resident Evil Village as well, which is probably why Dan already left. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea what's happening today with Dan, but we don't really need him for the Resident Evil Village discussion. So, yeah, guys, I've been playing that. I am absolutely loving it. It is I really like 7, so let me start there, because 7 was kind of that spiritual reboot, if you will. You know, they took it to first person, they mixed it up, they kind of started fresh, but I really loved it. And then coming into 8 or Village, you know, they kind of kept that theme. It's obviously a straight continuation. You're still Ethan Winters, and it doesn't waste a lot of time kicking it into gear. And just what I've played so far, man, I think it's one of the showcases for the new consoles already. I mean, it's stunning to play. And then on top of that, the sound design, basically everything about it, I'm just in love with. And I know, Hector, we were talking before the show that, it sounds like you're similar to me, where like I just eat horror up, right? Horror movies, everything to do with horror, I love. Especially, you know, I love weirdness too. Once you start getting into weird horror, and it feels like Resident Evil Village is taking it down that path where it's a little more out there than some of the past entries. And man, I don't know about you guys. I want to hear your thoughts. Hector, I'll start with you, man, but I am absolutely loving this game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a couple of hours in. I just started playing this morning, and I admit I was tired and a little scared to start at 12 o'clock last night at midnight, because I know how this game can get with its atmosphere, and I was absolutely correct with just how creepy this setting is. Like they're just mastering the atmosphere when it comes to just the horror and the creep, like you said, the creepiness and the weirdness. I'm all for that. I love Conjuring. I love those really like paranormal kind of seance ghost like movies and such like that. So this is like really up my alley, and it really feels like Resident Evil 7 was the spiritual successor to Resident Evil 1 in some ways, and then but with the first person perspective, and then this one just taking up a notch. We're going straight to Resident Evil 4 with Village. And it's nuts, and they're just nailing it so far. I'm loving the characters. I'm actually liking the story too. Me too, which is a little unusual for me for Resident Evil, but it's good, man. It's good.
Although I find we were joking about this last night, Mo, the writing for Ethan, like his commentary is just hilariously bad. Like the story's really good, right? But when like he'll literally like lose half a hand and he's like, "Oh, that's not good."
That's where it becomes a video game. That's where it legit becomes a video game. I do like the parts where he's like kind of like in grief and you're like, oh, he's like, what's going on? But yeah, that part that totally skipped my mind. Or just like he's definitely lost like part of it.
He's got like 2 fingers. There's goats' heads hanging around him. There's werewolves jumping at him, and he's like, "This is weird."
It was the same shit in 7, man. Even in 7, when you go and find Mia, and you're just like in deep shit and all this crap, and you're trying to escape. And he's like, "Mia, what's going on? Shut up and escape, man. Then ask her after."
But that's the only goofy aspect. I think everything else has been just spectacular so far. So Mo, I know you just started it. You said last night you played for a few hours. What are your early thoughts, man?
I love it, man. It's excellent. Remember, I'm fairly new to the whole Resident Evil thing. You know,
you just finished 7 like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about a month ago. Yeah, I finished 7. I finally ballsed up and did that one, and I liked it, man. It was amazing. And you know,
check out the DLC.
No, I did not.
I haven't either, actually. I never went back and played the DLC.
Yeah, I haven't played the DLC, even though I want to. I heard that there was one of them in particular was really creepy about like trying to work your way out of a room or something.
I know that one is worth playing. That one,
yeah. But yeah, like you guys were saying, like Ain said, the game is a technical showcase. It's beautiful. I still don't know what kind of fuckery they do at Capcom with this engine. It's amazing. The Resident Evil
works well for him.
It's incredible, man. Like last night we were in the group chat and I'm telling these guys, I'm like every developer should implement this engine because it's just so well optimized. It looks so good, runs so good. It's amazing. Yeah. But compared to 7, yes, I would say, and even for somebody like me who generally avoided horror games, it is a little bit toned down in that sense. And I think it's because the game takes place, you know, you start and it's outside. There's something about it that just doesn't feel as creepy as like a claustrophobic environment when you're inside of 7. Now, granted, you do get there, you know, I mean, but I think the way, and also they introduce the antagonists, obviously we're not spoiling anything, but and the way they introduce the antagonists and you see them like talk to each other and the bickering kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I see what they're going with. I see where they're going with this. But so far, I love it, man. It's fantastic. I can't wait to play more.
Yeah. Dan's just sitting back in his chair judging us. Listening to this.
That's pretty much it. I got FOMO, but not really FOMO. Like
a village.
A village. I like it. Looks awesome. Everything everybody is saying about it looks amazing. You know, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I know I'll never play it.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think, I don't know, I've gotten, you know, a decent amount into it so far. And there are a couple things which creep me out from a horror game perspective, but nothing too bad. I think it would be one of those games where you'd have to really kind of borderline push yourself through it.
It's the jump scares. To be honest with you, that's the biggest thing with these games. Like I can deal with, you know, things that are kind of freaky and demented or, you know, but like if I'm running away from somebody, forget about it. I'm not, you know, I lose everything. I do it. No, it's just not going to happen, Jordan. It's just no way. Listen, I'm 45 years old. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I'm good to go.
He's doing the podcast in a recliner. You think he gives a shit about it?
This is the new thing, by the way. This is not going to change.
Yeah. I think it's good, man.
I still get some stuff, you know, kind of set up in the background, but this is too damn comfortable. And if this works, done. So,
but what's going on, chat? I forgot the shout out, chat. Good to see everyone. Thanks for stopping by this morning. But yeah, to Mo, your point about the introduction of kind of this the core antagonist, right, that you're going to meet in some of those sections so far. And I have gotten to the point now where we just did this before this. So Domitress. Domitress, that's the right way to say it.
Like dominatrix, you know. But
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Hector's
bringing the association.
Good point. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But I have gotten to the point now, you know, where she is ever present, if you will. And so when you see her, it's like, all right, you better figure something else out or go the other way. But I don't like in the horror games, like the people who just chase you endlessly, like Mr. X and the other Resident Evil. Like that's the aspect I don't like. This doesn't feel as intrusive so far. Like,
that's good. That's good.
She's there and she will come your direction, but she's not super fast. And there's plenty of ways to just go the other way, kind of go around, and it doesn't feel too bad.
That's good to hear.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, because that was the one thing I not despised about older Resident Evil games or even Resident Evil 2 Remake. It was just like when I have a focus and I have an objective, I want to get to it, but I can't. This dude's like,
me too.
Nah, you can't. like that frustrates me.
Well, and it got even worse with like Nemesis. I didn't even buy because I never liked that game from the start. But he's like a superhero. You know what I mean? He just follows you the whole game. He can jump across the screen. He can go up ladders. Like you can't do anything against him, and it's just that's boring to me. So But yeah, no, this feels way better implemented, at least so far. I'm not at the end yet, obviously, but yeah, man, it's great. It's really, really great, and especially like we said, if you want to see an early indication of where games are going to be going with the new consoles, this is an early showcase for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those games, one of those rare games, I'll say, where you don't like the controller just feels like it's levitated from your hands and you're immersed into it because of how well they do the environments. That's what I love about Resident Evil 1. And there's a couple of games that do that, just like either story focus or just have a good pacing and good gameplay flow that you're just boom, like you're into it. Yeah, this one is one of them for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is extremely well polished too. I've had no hiccups. Like to your point, even the combat, when you're shooting some of those smaller guys or other things, it's very smooth, very well implemented. So yeah, man, it's awesome.
It's very like I said, man. It's very well optimized.
It is. Yeah, it's fantastic.
RE engine, man. I don't know what they do with it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was talking to Cloud from GPTB, and he told me, I told you guys before the show, he said he stayed up all night playing it. Yeah. And he's like, he's at the end, and he's like, I don't want it to end. It's too good. And I was like, yeah, but I haven't seen all of it yet, but they I have seen some people I know say that it's very replayable. There's other things that you can do once you beat it too, which is cool. So looking forward to that. Dan, what's up, Dutch? Good to see you. Dan looks far too comfortable.
I don't even know what to say at this point.
I mean, he's a hot cocoa next to him or something. He's something next to him.
I like somebody said a chalice. I'm all right with that. I just I'll get myself a crown and like one of those furry, kind of like a cape. I'm trying to drab over myself.
Yeah, you should put on the fire log and your TV back there. Just have like a 10-hour fire.
There you go.
I could put a big giant SG logo up there. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you can.
I don't know why it's not already there, Slacker.
Well, it's because there was a 10-minute period where I was rushing all over the place. Like, where is my internet cords?
So for those who joined late, Dan is in this position because his normal podcast setup runs a long LAN cable to his internet, and his dog chewed through it. So he had to quickly adjust, and now we have new Dan, who is
from here on out, Dan.
So, by the way, what's up, Mav? He said props to Capcom for a big release not being a buggy mess. You're not joking, man.
That's
as many games we get that have issues at launch. This one, I haven't seen anyone talk about issues. I haven't had any issues. So yeah, it's awesome. Very cool. Also,
on both consoles too.
Yeah, on both consoles. And or we should probably say all consoles, but the other thing I noticed is I played the first demo, the one not like weeks ago, but the one like a few months ago, right? And that demo takes place in a specific section of the game, but it actually when you go through that same section in the game, in the full game, it's actually different. Like what happens is different. So the demo didn't spoil anything from the main game, which I thought was really cool. It was more of a showcase. Good. Yeah, it's more of a showcase for the environment, which is really neat.
Right.
That's good. That's what I was worried about. That's why I avoided those demos. Because
me too.
Yeah, like Square Enix is very infamous with their trailers for spoiling everything in their trailers. So I was scared the same thing with Capcom, but I'm glad to see that they avoided that.
Yeah. So you guys playing anything else? I know, we've been talking a lot. I know the core group I talked to playing a lot of Returnal. So I beat that last week and put the review up for it. I love that game. I think it's fantastic. It's a shame we saw some of the issues they had with, people losing progress and stuff.
Yeah.
But the game itself, it again, very, very well polished, very smooth to play. It's just a fantastic game. So Mo, I know you were playing that. Where are you at now? You still trying to power through, or you moved on to Village?
I'm on the second biome. I'm on the second biome, and I haven't played it in like maybe 3 days. But because I was waiting for Village to come out, and I was kind of, getting my headspace, ready for that one. But yeah, man, like you said, it's a shame, and then you just see all this crap on the internet, comparing it to Cyberpunk. I love Cyberpunk. Everyone knows I love Cyberpunk,
Yeah, baby.
But at the same time, this game is nothing. Release is nothing compared to what Cyberpunk was, especially it just was not. So yeah, the progression issues are definitely a bitch, and then also obviously the crashes. I was lucky enough to never have a single crash on my PS5. I never had a crash. And because I haven't played it, I didn't, the whole progression thing. But I mean, Outriders just had some progression issues as well. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it happens, man. You know, it sucks. And I get it because the game is a grind. You know, like, I mean, it's not an excuse. The game is a grind and it does suck. So you can't excuse that at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we want to look at the bigger picture of, you know, how bad it was compared to like Fallout 76 or other things, come on, man. It's just hyperbole, dude. It's just it's crazy. But yeah.
So here's one for you, Dan. No one been playing Nier Replicant. Dan has, man. Dan's playing the hell out of it.
Yeah. It's driving me crazy because of what the endings are. And I have to collect every single weapon, which means I have to buy almost every single weapon, which means it's taking me forever to grind out. So it's driving me crazy a little bit, but I'm still playing it. It's awesome. Still
you finished it though, right? I'm sorry.
I finished. There's 5 different endings, right? I think. So there's like A, B, C, D, something. I don't know. And maybe I don't know what they it might be Z the way Yokotaro does this stuff.
Right,
but
right.
It's good, but like the true ending, I guess is locked away. It's either D or E or somewhere in there, but I still have to get through C just to get like everything. And that's the kind of the bitch of the whole thing right now, because I know for a fact that if it doesn't like Automata, like you lose all your saves. The game deletes all of your saves, at a certain point to get like, I don't know if I ever got them back, which kind of sucks. That's like the last part. It's just like, here's the last, right in your gut.
So I understand you've obviously love Automata. You were really looking forward to Replicant because, correct me if I'm wrong, you hadn't played the original until this remake, right?
Right.
So I guess the question is, as someone who tried Automata, didn't really get into it, the question I have to ask is this craziness with all the endings and the save files really necessary?
Like, I understand, like this one I think is a little bit more compact than like Automata, which had like 20 something endings, and like some of like the endings in Automata were like you go do like one thing and like it's like a 10-minute experience. It's like I decided to say the hell with it, and it's very there's some of them that are very, very short.
Sure.
Now these are generally all right, except for the one I'm on, which takes forever because I'm trying to grind and get a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a little bit annoying.
Are you playing parts of the game you've already played to grind this to get this ending?
Yes, but in a different manner, if that makes any sense. It's hard to describe without spoiling it, and
that's fair.
There's you play kind of like as a different character almost, but not really a different character. It's such a I don't know, man.
We'll just move on.
So is it less palatable?
Wait for the review. It might be
Automata.
Here. Is it what?
Is it less palatable? Is it less like to take in than Automata?
Oh yeah. It's way less. So it's still weird,
Yeah.
It's not like you're over here one time. Next thing you turn around and you're 1,000 miles away, and like what just happened? No, it's not anything like that. Like the story, if you actually pay attention, it actually is easy to follow, until you get to the very end, and then you're just like, oh man, what the hell just happened? That's Yokotaro, man. So I mean, it's just something you're gonna have to deal with. Yeah.
Well, you've got like you said, you're gonna kind of do a write-up on it here once you get through all these things, a proper one, if you will. Like we've talked enough about this week. Hector, you playing anything else, man? You're enjoying Village. Anything else kind of in the console at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a regular player for Final Fantasy 14. That is my go-to. Yeah, I am a huge Final Fantasy 14.
Damn, I may need to hit you up in the future because that's one that I've been wanting to get into, especially now that they're bringing the upgraded version of PS5 soon, right? Or is it already out? That's a beta right now. Yeah. Okay. But I've always wanted to get into that since they kind of rebooted it, years ago, and I just never have. And if those games can be intimidating
absolutely
when you first get into them. So that's cool, man. Sorry, go ahead though.
No, yeah. I mean, I completely agree. It took really my cousin and his friend to really like push me to keep going, but it's so worth it, especially for all the expansions and everything. But yeah, that's in my regular rotation just because I'm pumped for the new expansion coming out in the fall, man. It's gonna be great. And they just dropped, speaking of Yokotaro, they just dropped the Nier Alliance dungeon raids in that game. So like actually Yokotaro and the Nier collaborators with Final Fantasy, and they just built like this whole like I think it's 24 or 48 man dungeon, just
Wow.
going through it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's epic music from Nier and like all these really cool callbacks. It's like on a grand scale, just epic. So yeah, I've been dousing into that, getting all the new gear and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I will definitely have to hit you up because that just sounds really cool. If I ever find some downtime at some point.
Yeah, man.
A lot of faces in chat. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Really appreciate it. Got a super chat from Armello here. Thank you for all you guys do for this community. Cheers, man. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And where is that coming from? Does anyone know? Is that Canadian or is that
That's
something
Canadian.
else? Okay,
Yeah, that's
all right,
Canadian.
just making sure.
Mhm.
All right, so thank you so much, Armello. Really, really appreciate that, man.
Cheers to you, man.
Yeah, cheers to you. So let's get into some other commentary. So real quick, I wanted to touch on Biomutant. We talked about Biomutant was our number one topic, show topic 2 weeks ago, but it felt like this week they showed more of it, and now there's this kind of explosion of people's interest in this game that's coming in a few weeks because I think people are starting to realize it looks pretty damn good, right? I mean, it looks like it has a lot of content. So I just wanted to quickly shout out that if you haven't checked out Biomutant in terms of like the new gameplay trailers, some of the features of that game, make sure you do because that game has a lot of potential to surprise a lot of people. I think it's going to be one of those that kind of comes in and people just are like, oh, whoa, I didn't expect this to be so good. So, all right. Judgment Day. Dan, I'm going to need you on this one.
Yeah.
So Sega held Judgment Day yesterday for kind of the future of both Judgment and, kind of parts of the Yakuza series, if you will, kind of that universe. And am I wrong or right here, Dan? Is Judgment in the same universe technically as Yakuza or no? They're just kind of spiritually related.
No, they are. I mean, it's the same city, basically.
Okay.
Like Judgment was set in not Yokohama, in oh my God, I can't believe I just...
You of all people.
I
right.
blanked out too because God damn it, I played it too. And I blanked
Kamurocho.
out. Yeah.
There you
Yes.
Kamurocho,
Thank you.
So that's where it's set in. There was never really any like too much of like a crossover. I mean, everything was the same as far as this. They just basically took what was in like Yakuza 6 or actually Yakuza everything and put Judgment in it. Now it's a different kind of game. Kind of. It's not your. It's a little bit more detective-y, if that's a word. And
It's like the definition of like a spin-off in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And so it sounds like what they're going to do is, go with Judgment for that, kind of action, beat 'em up, that kind of, where Yakuza used to be, and then move, Yakuza like a dragon to the JRPG kind of realm, which is fine, which is actually a really smart idea.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're kind of moving forward because they all have really likable characters. They're really, really fleshed out. They're always written really well, and that's kind of like that's their hallmark of, what they do. And I'm super pumped for this one.
Yeah.
I've been going back, like I told you last week, and playing Judgment, the upgraded version. It's still the same game, basically.
It's just enhanced, right?
Yeah, it's just enhanced.
Yeah.
But, I haven't played it in so long, I totally forgot a bunch of stuff. And I'm falling back in love with it. But I've always loved all these Yakuza games. So this was like, we kind of knew it was coming. There was talk like 2 months ago that, they were working on it. So, and they're keeping all the characters from the first one.
Yeah.
Yagami's back. I'm super excited. And he was one of those ones where I was just like, I'm not really sold on him because I'm such a big Kiryu fan. But by the end of the game, I mean, he really proved his worth. So
I was going to say that this seemed to go over really well with fans yesterday. So basically, the enhanced version of Judgment is out, right? Xbox Series X, S, and PS5. Lost Judgment, which is the full sequel, is coming September 24th, and that's a global launch, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't happen.
No, I mean, that means
Not
obviously
these
they
games.
did all the translation and all this stuff ahead of time so that people here and in Western parts of the world get it at the same time, which is awesome.
Yeah, they even went into like how translation is really tackled from the North American side as well when they're releasing Judgment, saying like, this is what we do. This is like how we take like the themes and like the sort of I guess like attitudes of certain characters and kind of translate it. And it was a big deal because I think they're releasing it in English dub, Japanese dub, and also and like the native language. There's something around those lines, but like there basically was just a big project they were doing to make this kind of like a milestone for their releases outside of Japan.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Keep it coming.
So,
and being able to go to 2 different places. I mean, you kind of did that in some of the Yakuza games, but now that they're basically, they've got Yokohama, where
and I believe they said it's like fully fleshed out, right?
That's that's nuts. So that's 2 humongous cities, that to be able to jump back and forth with. Now the question becomes, are we going to see some crossover with Like a Dragon, which I am 100% hoping for, because that would be awesome. I mean, I need to see this.
Well, it sounds like a long way away, but it's really not. You're talking about 4 months. I mean, it's not far off.
And that you don't usually get that, that kind of short announcement.
No, they're doing it right.
So,
yeah, they're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
With this announcement, of course, is that, I think you touched on this, Dan, but Yakuza is obviously going to be continuing into the future. Whether or not they, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't really say if it's going to be the Like a Dragon characters into a sequel to that or what. They just said that it's going to remain turn-based. Right. That is the future of the Yakuza series, and Judgment will be their action game. Which I love, because as you know, I prefer the turn-based, and I loved Like a Dragon, so I was very happy to hear that. So yeah, man, I thought this was really good. It seemed, like I said, fans were really excited about everything that was said, and sequel in September, which is awesome.
I'm excited. I'm ready for a replay of Judgment.
Yeah, I still have to play Like a Dragon, man. I haven't. I picked it up on the day the Series X came out, but it's still sitting there on my shelf, dude. I haven't played it. Yeah, I sort of got. I love Yakuza, man, because I played not all of them, but I played 0, 1, and 2, but I'm not sure how to feel about that yet, to be honest with you. I like the action, and the thing is talking to people who did play Like a Dragon, they'll tell you, like, look, once you play it, you'll appreciate the turn-based aspects of it. Because generally speaking, I don't like turn-based games. Right? That's just me, right? I mean, but considering how well received it was by a lot of people, including the Yakuza fans, I'm excited to try it, man. I think this is good.
I think they implemented it well, and Dan, you can comment too, is that there's 2 things with turn-based you want, right? You want the ability to make it faster if you can, if you want to, right? Which you can. And they also really took advantage of it being turn-based with the skill and the class system for your characters. And it just worked out really, really well. It played like a classic Japanese RPG, but much kind of faster, modern pace.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's not like they kept it from being static, right? You can kind of, your characters kind of move around a little bit. Independently of them,
That's good.
They still interact with the environment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're still. That was my biggest thing going in. I mean, I was like down on this game from the moment they announced it. I was like, this is ridiculous. How are you going to take this classic thing that's always worked, it's been fantastic, and you're going to move it over to this? And I was.
By the way, I said all along that you would still buy it.
Well, I mean, that was going to happen. I mean, it was just a matter of time on that.
Really, the other thing to take away from this is the fact that when they first announced Like a Dragon and they said it was going turn-based, they did say, they're like, look, if this doesn't work, we'll revert back to action, right? To pure action. And the fact that they made an announcement that all future Yakuza games are staying turn-based, this is really a really good indication of how successful the game itself was and how well it was received.
Yeah,
so that's awesome, man. That really drives me even more to want to play it now. That's great. Man.
It sounds like this is like the fresh. I haven't played it, but it sounds like this is the most fresh take on turn-based combat since Persona 5.
I agree with that.
Persona 5 is like so stylistic and
I love Persona 5.
Yeah, so like if you guys are saying like it's like adding a whole new layer to it, then I mean it's already been on my radar, but like I keep like looking back and like, man, I kind of want to. Let's dive into it now because it looks really good, man.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not a Yakuza fan. Dan will tell you. Like I've tried a couple of the games briefly, but I never got into it, and I loved Like a Dragon. It's fantastic.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Fonz, Gav. I mix Mav and Gaz up. So sorry about that. Gaz and Fonz, what's going on? I don't know what kind of crap is being thrown around in the chat here. Fonz, you need to take it
Yeah,
elsewhere.
they started that, bro. I'm sorry,
What
guys.
happened? It's just getting it ready for next.
It's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this up for a while, but Fonz, I expect better out of you, man. You're a man of culture.
You got infiltrators in here, man. You got infiltrators.
So anyone who's watching who's not aware, it is 12:45 Central right now. At 4 Central, we are doing what do you call it? The Mass Effect debate over at the Iron Lords channel. So definitely stop by. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be like 10 people, by the way. It's going to be a lot of people.
I'm interested to hear because I played through Mass Effect 2 extensively. That was essentially my first one. And then when I tried to go back to the ME1, I was like, no.
Yeah. And I think that's common. We hear that a lot in this conversation is like the people who, or I should say some of the people down on Mass Effect 1 are people who started later in the series and then tried to go back. And they probably don't have that same kind of nostalgic love for the first one as people who started with it.
Yeah, but from what you guys are saying, at least what I'm saying, like it sets up the world and the story is a lot better as well. So I definitely want to jump into the Legendary Edition. That's what it's called, right? Legendary.
Yes. Yeah.
Just go through all 3.
Yeah. I can't wait for people to experience Saren and the story of Mass Effect 1. It's
good.
It's freaking incredible. It's one of the best all time. Did you play Knights of the Old Republic, Hector, back in the day?
No. My Star Wars games were in the back in the day were the movie break-off franchises. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. Oh man, another imposter here. What is happening?
Oh no,
moderators, I need you.
Where are they? Where are they today? What's going on?
Oh man, they're too busy making lunch right now.
Apparently, yeah. Dan, are you okay over there?
I had dog issues. I'm good now.
Okay. All right. Let's real quick. We don't have to stay on this, but I want to touch on it. Is we got a lot of information from Ubisoft this week on the future of the Division franchise. So Division 2, we've been talking a lot about, over the past few months because of just how good it is now with the next gen upgrade, if you will. And, the loot system, everything else in that game, it's just incredible. So they came out, and obviously Ubisoft is heavily invested into the Division as a franchise, right? Or as an IP now. So they've got new content coming for Division 2. We already knew this. Later this year, early next year, which is going to be an entirely new game mode. So that's cool. They announced this week a free-to-play title called Heartland, which is being developed by Red Storm Studio primarily. And if you don't know Red Storm Studio, they helped with both of the Division games and a ton of the Tom Clancy titles going all the way back like 25 years. So they've been around a very long time. They also announced a mobile game for the Division. Who knows? They didn't show anything. Who knows what that's going to be? Obviously, the Netflix movie is coming. And you might think, oh, God, a Netflix movie Division, that sounds terrible. But it's actually got some big names attached to it, including Jessica Chastain and Ryan Gyllenhaal as well, who are the lead actors. Jake. God damn, I'm all messed up with names today. Jake Gyllenhaal, sorry. Yeah. And they also announced a book. There's a Division novel coming as well. So it is evident here, obviously, that Ubisoft is heavily investing into this. And I think, with Massive primarily moving on to a new Star Wars game, we'll see if they ever come back to kind of a full Division 3. I'm sure they will in the future, although it's probably years out. But what do you guys think about this, Dan? I'll start with you only because I know you've played a lot of Division and you and I, have put a lot of time into that game. Are you interested in this kind of side content or not really?
I mean, the Heartland thing seems interesting. I wish I knew more about it because, if it's like a battle royale or something, then no. I mean, I don't need any of that garbage.
Well, they had that in the expansion in Division 1 was that. It was a survival game. So I doubt they do that again. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's like, just more of, it's anytime you see free to play, you immediately think microtransactions, at least I do. So I hope it's not full of those. But, they've proven that they can do this kind of stuff. I mean, I know it's a different studio, but, I'm assuming they've got all the, resources that they need for making something awesome. So we'll see what happens, I guess. As far as like, the mobile game, no, not going to happen. And I don't read. So the novel's out. The movie, I mean, I could think of probably 80 more people other than like Jake Gyllenhaal that I'd rather see in the movie. Any movie.
Like Ryan Gyllenhaal, maybe?
Yeah, Ryan Gyllenhaal would actually be way better. Like
His
like
evil,
right
evil
there.
twin brother. Yeah.
Here's Jake. Here's Tom Hardy. I mean, that's right, and that's the bottom of the list.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, they can't afford Tom Hardy.
No, they can't afford Tom Hardy. They can't afford to have him because he'll ruin the movie. So, other than that, I'm looking forward to the rest of this. So.
I don't get why the guy hates Tom Hardy, man.
I don't know. He's a great actor.
Bane. It's because of Bane. That's why he's.
Listen, I mean, I don't know what movies you guys have been watching with him in it, but I have never been able to actually understand what he says, ever. But he sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth all the time. Yeah, he's a good-looking dude, but he just comes off as a moron to me. So I mean, that's everything. Like if you watch Venom, I'm sorry. Number one, number two, it was so bad, and it was just made worse by his presence. And so, just throwing that out there.
Oh man,
yeah.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm good.
I hope he doesn't watch this podcast, man. He's gonna be really upset.
I'm telling you, I love you, Tom. You're awesome.
Me too, man.
I'll tell you what. Come on the show, Tom Hardy, and we can discuss proper ways to speak.
Watch Peaky Blinders. That's a role that he crushes.
Yes.
You can understand him in that one?
Solid.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, I mean, if you can understand all the other people in that show.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to admit that he puts on subtitles in the show.
You need subtitles for that show. Impossible to watch it, at least for me.
Well, no, my family's English, so they sound like my cousins. I mean, I'm used to it.
Oh man.
Actually, this is no joke. Like, I'll be sitting there with my wife, and we'll watch it, and she'll look at me. She'll be like, "I have no idea what he just said," and I'm like, "Here's what he said," and I'll literally half translate. And people, it's really funny because technically you're speaking the same language, right? But yeah,
dialect,
accent,
man.
Accent's definitely.
Yeah, the more north you go in the UK, the more north you go, the harder it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're all off track. Hector, did you a big Division player or don't really touch it?
No, I mean the premise is interesting. It's from what I remember from the first Division game, where it was that this disease was on the dollar bill, and then that's like super interesting. Like I would love to see like a Netflix. That sounds like a great Netflix show to me. Than a game that I'll just keep playing. Really,
yes.
I'm not really big into like military like shooters or anything like that. So. But the premise is interesting. But the game itself, I like to watch people play sometimes, but not like super into it.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I got Darren's. If I remember correctly, Darren, you're in Scotland, which is why you said Glasgow. Yeah, go to Scotland for a week and try to talk to people. You'll be like, "What is happening?"
I can understand English people. I cannot understand Tom Hardy. That's the problem.
No, and what I'm saying is, if you think if you think English people are hard. Go to Scotland. It's even worse.
Yeah.
Like the movie that I could understand him the best in, Bane, where he had a mask over his Dark Knight, and I was just like, "This is craziness." I can understand what he's saying. All right.
So there's a little anecdote real quick on this because for Darren, who's in Scotland. So I went over 2018 for my cousin's wedding, and my cousin's now wife, her family is Scottish. So me and my brother walk into the house, and her mom's there, who lives in Scotland. And she comes down and she said something, and all I heard was, and Jessica, who's my cousin's wife, looks at us and she goes, "You get any of that?" And me and my brother were like, "Nope, not a word." And she's like, "Mom, you're gonna have to really slow it down for him while you're here." And, it's crazy.
Man, that sounds like my Puerto Rican family, bro. That's what my grandma speaks. I'm like breaking down every word to make sure. I'm like, you say like go away or go get something to eat. I'm not sure. I have to break it down.
Was it with Hector? Was for you? It was always with me. It was always like it was that Spanglish. It was always just like it was like they go super fast and then it'd be like, and then it was just like this. I'm like, what?
Yeah, my mom's word for the thing, just like any random like generic word, is "deso." So every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, she's talking about something else.
Oh, fantastic.
By the way, going back really quick to the Mass Effect thing we were joking about, is Walt in the chat here was saying that if you really like Saren, there's actually a prequel book to Mass Effect 1 that you can read, and it's actually written by Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote multiple of the Mass Effect games as well. He's not at BioWare anymore. But that's that's interesting.
So like a novel or like a comic book?
I think he said novel. Walt, you can correct us, but I'm pretty sure it's a novel. Similar to, if you haven't read them, right? There's a prequel to BioShock. Dan, if you've never read that, it's incredible. Literally, I should give it to you, and you should force yourself to read a book because it's amazing.
Does it come in a book on audio?
It might. Check it out. It's called. It's literally sitting right there. I forget what it's called. I'll DM you. Right. But it sets up a couple of the main characters in BioShock, and especially there's this one revelation of this one guy that you don't even know from the game. So,
oh, cool! I need to check those out.
Hold on, you said for Mass Effect or BioShock?
But so Walt's talking about Mass Effect. I'm talking about BioShock. Okay. There's prequel books for both of them.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, and Walt said it is a novel, Hector.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely want to check those out. I'm getting more into reading now since my fiance, she's a huge reader.
Okay.
We just started reading books with each other, and right now we're on the His Dark Materials trilogy. So I'm looking. Oh, never heard the Golden Compass, Subtle Knife.
Oh, I've seen them. Yeah. I don't know what they are though. Yeah.
Fantastic science fantasy novels, but I'll check those out too because any more reason to dive into BioShock, I'm in.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's really good, and I don't want to ruin anything like I said, but one of the literal main characters in the entire game, his history and how all of that developed is in that book. It's awesome.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Get on. Yeah,
it's real good. All right, back on track here. Borderlands 4. So this kind of came out of nowhere this week, but there was a rumor that we didn't report on because it seemed like a bullshit rumor, and it was that some other studio was developing a new Borderlands spin-off game, and Gearbox was helping them. Randy Pitchford came out and said, no, that's not true at all. If any Borderlands game is in development, we're the ones making it. And he then followed that up with, we are working on the big one for Borderlands internally at Gearbox. So obviously he's referring to Borderlands 4, which is kind of good in a way because I love Borderlands. Whether or not, it depends where you sit on Borderlands 3. I think from a gameplay perspective, it's fantastic. I think many people agree. I'm not far stretched to say that story-wise, nothing beats Borderlands 2 and Handsome Jack. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see where they go with Borderlands 4 because, just my opinion, but some of the looting, shooting, it didn't feel stale. It's still really fun, right? But they didn't change enough, I don't think, in Borderlands 3 is my opinion. So I wanted to ask you guys, Dan, I know you play. Mo, you haven't really gotten into Borderlands. You tried recently. Hector, I don't know if you play it, but I just wanted to throw it out to you guys to say, if you were sitting there making Borderlands 4, what would you do to that series to kind of freshen it up? What would you like to see out of it? Dan, I'll start with you, man.
I mean, the biggest thing with Borderlands has always been the loot, so it's and like you said, I think it felt kind of stale. It's just, there wasn't as many. I don't know, with Borderlands 2, it was always like, okay, I'm going to go farm this guy till I get this, weapon, or I might have to do it a few times to try to get this god-rolled weapon, legendary, whatever it is. In this one, it was harder for me because it just didn't seem like, it was so very story heavy. And I really didn't care for the twins very much. They kind of peaked with Handsome Jack and number 2, and it's hard. It's just like Far Cry, when they in 3 when they had Boz, and it's hard to kind of go to the next one and not have that big bad that has as much charisma and as much flair as the one before him does.
So Borderlands 3 had the Dark Knight problem.
Yes, the Dark Knight problem. Yeah. When you hit, I mean, because nobody can replace, the Joker, Heath Ledger. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, man. I just got done installing Borderlands 3 actually because I wanted to jump back in, and they do so much, it's almost too much because it was like The Division. Eventually you got to get to it. We came back, recently and. And it was like, man, we got to refigure everything out. Remember what everything does. Figure out whatever all the stuff they added. Borderlands did that and then some. Plus with DLC, story DLCs, which are great and they're always funny and they do a good job with the writing. It's just there's so much now that I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, and I'm lost. So now it's just I'm just going to play the storylines, I guess, and call it good. But that's not why I played them. That's not why I played 2. That was always one of the things where, that new loot was always pushing you. So I don't know. I think they could, I just hope they can find somebody as charismatic as Handsome Jack, and that's going to be a tall order. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be hard. Hector, did you ever play these games, man? I know you said you don't really get into shooters as much, but Borderlands ever hit with you?
Yeah, I dipped my toes into Borderlands too. I played it when it first came out, and that was one of those games I just had to really push myself to finish.
Okay.
Just because the loot wasn't really like, it doesn't really speak to me, like the looting and the shooting really. It's more just like the characters. Yeah, the characters and like the RPG factors of it is what really made me, like the gameplay essentially is what really like drove me to complete it. But man, I absolutely adore Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
I played that with my fiance recently. I played it before then, and just like I love those games just because they're just the story and the characters and like the universe of Borderlands has always enticed me. It's the gameplay of it really, or not the gameplay, the more or less like the looter shooter part of it that like really like kind of turns me off and gets me bored more or less. But I don't know, I have to really be in the mode like to like play it.
Yeah, gotcha. So I would presume then for Borderlands 4, you would prefer that they kind of go more story driven and kind of drive character development more than adding another 8 billion guns.
yeah, essentially, yeah. Like, just give me a reason just to keep going through the story missions or even going to the side missions. Like, really flesh those out and give those a lot of character and the humor that it's known for. Right? Yeah. Tales from the Borderland had me bust out laughing at the stuff that they were doing, what's going on, even the music choices. So if they could like carry over that same vibe, even from Borderlands 2, where they had some really cool Easter eggs, then yeah, I'm down for it. I'll definitely check it out.
Gotcha. Mo, you shaking your head? You're in the same camp?
Yeah, I was in the same camp a bit, but I told you before, man, my problem with Borderlands is jumping into 2 right after playing Diablo. Yes, completely different genres, right? But the Diablo looting itself, because I was brand new to that, and the looting system itself in Diablo, to me, it was just so perfect, right? And then when I got to Borderlands 2, granted, yeah, there were some dated aspects, in terms of the mechanics when compared to 3.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like the looting was as satisfying, or the grinding to me was as satisfying as a game like Diablo, for instance.
Yeah,
right?
Not many are.
Now, my whole thing on this is, again, I don't want to talk out of my ass because I'm not, I'm not a huge fan of the series, so I don't really know where they can improve or what they can't improve. What I can say is, you really have to look at 2 different sides to this, because no matter what releases from this series, it's going to end up being successful. So they can either approach it with the Call of Duty, they can either do it the Call of Duty approach, where they know that if they just keep adding to it or whatnot, it'll continue to sell. Or if they really do care, they can just kind of, I don't want to say rebrand, because you don't want to alienate people, or just change up. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know where they can go with it. Would I want more story? Yes. Right, like when I played Borderlands 2, for instance, with Jordan and Elu, I wasn't too engaged with the story. Now these guys told me the story is excellent, but I think it also has to do with the fact that I was playing with people, right? So it really takes you out of you lose the immersion when you're playing with people and shooting the shit and talking in a party chat and whatnot. So, but yeah, they could go anywhere. Honestly, even if they make a 4. And didn't they say, I thought there was a report that Gearbox is assisting?
No, that was the rumor. That's fake. Yeah.
Oh, so that was the fake one. Okay. Yeah. So they are actually doing it. And the other thing too is, what's the name of that group that bought them? The one that bought Gearbox or recently acquired them. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure they acquired Embracer Group for this specific reason. Borderlands is very, very, it's very successful and it's very profitable.
Yeah, it's a huge IP.
Yeah. So for all intents and purposes, I think Gearbox, that's really where they shine. Borderlands, it's clearly not going to be Battleborn, like I was telling you yesterday. It's not going to be another Battleborn, so
Aliens, Colonial Marines too.
Oh god.
Oh man. No, expect some crossover between that Borderlands movie and the next Borderlands game, man. Skins, guns, wherever, it's going to be there.
That's true too. We won't talk casting so far in that movie, because good lord, I don't know what they're doing. But I'm kind of with you. I'd like to see, we talked about Resident Evil 7 doing such justice to Resident Evil as a franchise. and kind of keeping that perfect mix of old and new and freshening it up. And Borderlands, I think at this point needs something to that degree. I mean, the IP is over 10 years old. The games are really similar, even though they expanded gameplay and some of the customization. It needs something fresh, I think.
Yeah.
So
I would, it needs it. And the thing is when you tell people that, whenever you tell people that it needs to be, like, for instance, this whole shit that's been going on about Halo Infinite, for instance, for the last few days, right? For the last couple of days, ever since that former artist was talking about it, right? Or ever since he said, what his expectations of the game to be.
Who did you? I don't know if you saw who Sense came out and said his comments were taken the wrong way.
Yeah, I know. But the thing, of course, they were taken the wrong way. Everything's always taken the wrong way. But the thing is when you say, because it's like a matter of sensitivity. Whenever you're talking about not rebooting, but like just adding some fresh perspective to a franchise so it doesn't get stale. Okay, one of the best examples of the most recent examples is God of War. Right now, when you say that, people are like, well, God of War didn't do anything revolutionary. No one said anything about revolutionary. All it did was just take the old formula and improve upon it. That's it. I love God of War. It didn't do anything revolutionary. Of course it didn't. But what it did is take this one-dimensional character, okay, and give him layers, all right, and make, in my opinion, make the gameplay at least better and the world better, okay? I mean, that's improving. That's changing up on the formula. And that's the thing. Like, I think that's what they can do. If what the Borderlands fans are saying, like, I mean, if they kind of feel like you don't want to get to that point, and I'm going to reference God of War again, because God of War 3, for instance, on the PlayStation 3, that was, everyone loved it, right? And then Ascension comes out, and everybody's like, man, we're tired of this shit, right? And Ascension tanked, and the series sat dormant for like 10 years, all right? So you don't want to get to that point. Yeah, sure, it'll continue to have its fans, but I think if they really do care about the franchise, and obviously they do, they'll definitely inject some flavor into it to just change it up and make it fresh, at least. Just feel a little bit fresh. So basically, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And there's a lot of characters that are kind of beloved in the Borderlands universe as well. And I think if they can figure out a way to kind of capitalize on that, a lot of people are saying bring Handsome Jack back, and it's like, well, I don't know if that's the right solution. Just because he was so good in 2 doesn't mean you just kind of go and try and throw him in a sequel 10 years later to try and make the game better. That doesn't seem like the best idea to me.
Well, they kind of tried. I mean, they entered. They had that DLC where you go to his, casino and stuff.
Yeah, I just finished it a couple weeks ago.
He's stuff like that. Just leave it alone. I mean, he was perfect the way he was. It was a great arc, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Now, for me, it's like I haven't delved too much into the franchise, but I feel like Borderlands is one of those franchise or IP that can really take risks and have some people be okay with it, and then we'll see what the spectrum lies.
Yes.
But I feel like if they just throw silly putty at the wall and see what sticks, man. Have those creative and diverse ideas just go about. They have the talent, they have the prowess, so might as well,
Yeah, no doubt. And IP is huge, like we said. I mean, the fans are going to be there. I'll be there.
Yes.
So is what it is. Joe, what's happening, brother? Jay Ready, what's going on? All right, let's get into some of this interesting conversation we saw come out this week. It's kind of fascinating, and there's tons of different aspects that you can cover on this, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because we could go on forever. But Epic versus Apple, which is turning into a no pun intended epic battle in this court case, right? But I think what is really interesting about this is that we're getting to see behind the scenes, really behind the curtains of these companies and their negotiations and their conversations, which we have never seen before, not to this level. And it is effing fascinating.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
It's
the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it is crazy.
That's so good.
Man, all the tea was spilled, and they just had a pot and just threw it on the floor now. It's crazy, man.
So good.
Who would have thought? Like, people were saying this is going to be a big gaming week. There's going to be a lot of news. I don't think people expected this at all.
No, this is wild. So There's a lot of different things, and if there's a specific aspect you guys want to touch on here, let me know or just shout it out. But two things kind of I put on our notes here, really, right, is the one around that obviously escalated for obvious reasons is around PlayStation and crossplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is that, we've known for a few years that if you read situations or read people well, you knew Sony was bullshitting about their reasons for not supporting crossplay, right? You could just tell. And so now we know that was a fact. And that they were the only company that basically saying, hey, there's no business reason for us to do this unless you're going to pay us extra money. Which is, that I guess at the end of the day, that's business.
That's a lemonade stand guy also charging you to get a cup to get the lemonade.
Look, dude. Oh, man. The way I looked at this is like you can't defend it, right? But you can't be surprised by it either. Like,
exactly,
right. You know how it is in this gaming community, man. If you defend something like, oh, you're a fan, like, nah, of course. Does it look shitty? Yeah, optics suck. Yeah, you're charging Epic to allow others, to play with your customer base, right?
Yeah.
Yes, optics do suck. At the end of the day, man, it really goes off of what you were saying, Ains, is because we got this behind the scenes look at this type of shit that nobody is privy to. Yeah. Every single day, these conglomerates pull this type of crap.
Every day.
Look at the banter that we saw between Apple and Epic in the emails, right, and whatnot. Or even like Tim Cook saying about Tim Sweeney?
Holy shit, dude! That was perhaps the best email in the whole.
My God,
Tim Sweeney reaching out to Apple to basically. In his geeky way, and I mean that in a positive way. He's like a brilliant mind, right? And he's like, here's X, Y, Z, A, B, C on why you want to fix all these network issues. It was like a page long, and Tim Cook just goes, is this one of the guys that showed up at one of our auditions? And I'm like, oh my God, that was disrespect.
That's crazy.
The disrespect.
Is he the custodian?
Who is this guy?
But he definitely put off the, who are you?
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, and I guess when you're the CEO of Apple, you can do that, right? But oh my God, it's
just reminded me of like the whole Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I'm Star Lord. Who? Star Lord? Man, come on.
The whole point of it is like, man, this type of shit happens every day, right? Like, I don't give a fuck who's good or who's not. I don't care who's a good guy or who's a bad guy. At the end of the day, you're the consumer and you get the benefit off of it. If PlayStation is charging Epic to play crossplay, fine. I'm not paying extra on my PS Plus to play. I get with people. Like, we are not the ones that are paying for it. If that's something that's between them, that's fine. Every single conglomerate that you support, whether it's Apple or whoever it is, they all pull this type of shit behind the scenes, right? It's drama to talk about, and again, optics do suck. I mean, it looks bad.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even in my role, right? And we're miles below the level we're talking about here, right? But there's plenty of times where I got to be careful what I say here. Okay, let me say it this way. Let me back up. I was walking into a bad place right there. So let's just say that companies, right, when they make a decision to spend money on something, right, no matter what it is, don't be fooled to thinking that they're just willing to throw money away for no reason, right?
Yes.
Like everything has a financial decision behind it. And I thought that was one of the emails that really stood out from Gio Corsi, who's no longer with PlayStation. But his email back to Epic was very clear on that. It was, I understand all the ways in which this benefits you and the consumers. He's like, I don't see how this benefits PlayStation as a business. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's just a matter of fact. If you think any of these companies on a daily basis are making decisions as your friend because they can, you are out of your mind.
Yes.
I promise you're out of your mind.
If anything, Microsoft and the other companies was like, "Damn, we should have charged for crossplay." Like,
they all gouge each other. They all gouge each other somehow or somewhere.
And I said this on Cast Co-op on Thursday. But let's be clear, right? There are aspects of companies and decisions they make that are more consumer friendly. We've talked about that, right? Like Xbox, absolutely. When you look at what they've done with backwards compatibility, for example.
Oh yeah.
The engineering that's gone into that, the time, the money, the man hours, that's not free. And I can almost guarantee, I can't guarantee you because I don't have the numbers, but I can almost guarantee you that as a net a net line item on Xbox's spreadsheets that's that's in the red, meaning that costs them money that they're not fully making back, right?
Oh yeah.
But you'd be remiss if you're not also thinking, hey, this is an angle that we can sell our ecosystem on, right? They're still thinking about it from a long-term engagement perspective. If they didn't feel that that was in any way beneficial, like it wasn't helping engagement, wasn't helping their ecosystem, wasn't helping xCloud or these all these other things they have going on, they wouldn't have done it. They just wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, that's a matter of fact. But at the end of the day, it's business, and it's
kind of like when they said how Epic was losing money on the Epic Store, but they were doing it for long-term engagement, with all the money that they're paying these developers or publishers to get the games over for free. And look how much. So what did they say? They lost, like, I forgot
almost
how many
$1
millions.
billion.
Yeah, they lost that, but then look how much they made in revenue.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So, and then they said, they're like, well, we're losing here, but we're thinking long-term. And man, it's working for Xbox, dude, because that's one of the most appreciated aspects about the console itself. I love it.
It's the same. We've talked about it, right? Same investment they're doing with Game Pass. Is you're going to invest now for long-term success.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the old school motto. You got to spend money to make money.
Exactly. Exactly. And these companies, as big as they are, obviously Microsoft, bigger than anyone, can afford to take a loss early if they think it's going to make them long-term revenue. Again, going miles below where this is, even in my role, we look at things in 3-5 year sets, right? Where it's like, okay, this may be in the red in year 1, even year 2, but by year 3, it's making a profit, and it'll make profit every year thereafter, right? So it makes sense. And they're just doing that at a much, much broader level where you're in the billions of dollars. But it's amazing. Another thing that jumped out to me, guys, on this is
hold on for a second. Let me jump in here for this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to make sure we get this correctly. But it's not like they're just saying, hey, you need to pay us, right? What they're saying is we're bringing this giant player base to your game.
Yes.
Right. And we would like to make sure that we don't get screwed out of revenues to that, let's say somebody goes and buys V-Bucks on the iPhone and then jumps on their PlayStation, their accounts are linked, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And it was, it was a very, it was like 80-something%. I don't know what the hell the percentages were, right? So really, this isn't, most people don't do that. So I think that number in the end, even as much as that stuff makes, is very, very small. As far as like I said, I'm playing whatever, and I go to the iPhone store and I play Fortnite on my iPhone. I buy $30 worth of V-Bucks. Sony is saying, hey, we just want to make sure that we're making money, that not everybody is doing this. That was their fear for the whole crossplay thing. It wasn't that you're going to pay us money. They wanted to protect that revenue stream. If you're going to sit there and use all of their services, we should probably, we're bringing the people, is what they were saying.
Yes, almost all of that is correct, except for payments were made from Epic to PlayStation. That were not made to, say, Xbox.
Right, because they didn't have that requirement. Because Xbox wasn't bringing, and that's what they were worried about. If you go into a restaurant, all right, and you bring in some fucking food from somebody else's place, and you're like, I want a table and give me some water. What else can I get you? Nothing. I'm not buying anything here. I'm just going to eat in your place, take up a spot, and, no, I'm going to kick that dude out the freaking door in a second. I have no problem with their arrangement because it protects their business.
Yes.
They don't have 8 million revenue streams like Xbox does. They have this and some electronics. And that's it. So they have to be very, very careful. And like you guys said, it's business. They have to be very, very careful what they let go of. So I don't think it was as big of a deal as everybody was making. I think it was. They're like, oh, they're charged. Yeah, but that's part. That's a huge part of the revenue stream. They brought in like 40% or more of Fortnite's. What a DLC or whatever the hell they charge of V-Bucks.
Yeah,
You know,
the report just came out where like I think like Fortnite was making more money on PlayStations and even mobile. Yeah,
41
than
double
any
what
other
Xbox.
platform.
It was like 41% just on Sony's side, if I remember.
Right, that's huge.
Yeah,
So
that's
why
huge,
would you
man.
not want to protect that revenue stream? So they're just saying, okay, listen, we just want to make sure we're still getting our shit, you know, and where people aren't, you know, jumping on other consoles. You know, I don't think it was necessarily the cross-play issue. It was more of, you know, I want to protect our money.
Well, no, I mean, it's based on money, but it still affected crossplay.
Well,
again,
it did. Yeah, it did. But
again, as a consumer, right? We always say, and especially you always say, focus on the consumer.
Yeah.
Because now you're defending the business.
I don't care. I mean,
what I'm saying is,
I'm looking at it from my point of view. Like if I were Sony.
No, you always say, forget about what the business is doing. Worry about the consumer. Right. In this case, as a consumer, you can't play crossplay because of what Sony is doing.
Right.
So I'm saying, I understand what Sony's doing. I get it. It's a business.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
But be careful saying it's not a problem, because now you're taking the opposite approach you normally take as a consumer.
No. And me, I don't care. Like generally, I'm just saying, if I put my business goggles on and I go, oh, that makes sense. You know, back in the 360, Microsoft flat out blocked the same shit. You know, for different reasons, whatever it was, because we were afraid that they pride their network and Xbox Live. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that either. Do your thing. But I'm saying, you know, it wasn't because of like a revenue stream, but they're not charging, you know, like Mo said, I'm not paying for it.
No,
you know, I mean,
it's just like if you're on Xbox, we're just using an example, and it didn't affect me either. But if I'm on Xbox and you're on PlayStation and we can't play together because of this,
right? Let me ask you another question.
Yeah,
like no bullshit. Yeah. How much have you cross-played? Maybe not with PC, but like Sony and like a lot, because I have never done it willingly or knowingly, I should say. Like even on Xbox games, like on Sea of Thieves, I shut off the PC crossplay because I'm not playing with those people. That's insane. I'm just gonna, you know,
you're going anecdotal again.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, I mean, how much do we use it? I'm just comparing that to the amount of people bitching about it is what I'm getting to. You know, we're getting to the point where it's just like, listen, you're complaining about something that doesn't really affect you because you don't even use it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what bothers me. It's not that,
I know, but Dan, this is where we always end up in these conversations. And I always end by saying, stop letting people bitching annoy you so much.
but that's the thing. It's the people that, you know, that shouldn't be, you know, it's like,
it's drama, dude. No, but it's a drama, man. It's part of it.
It's drama. That's the problem. Yeah. It's like these random dudes, it's people that I know that are just like, and it's bad optics, like you said. It's terrible. It looks stupid.
Yeah.
For Sony to do something like this. That's the worst part about this whole thing. Like for them as the brand, it's, you know, but people also don't really delve into it. They just see, oh, Sony's charging Epic for crossplay. But it's not that simple, is what I'm
saying. Yeah, but how many people, I mean, look at it, man. We joke around about it all the time. It's like seeing the headline of an article and not even clicking on the article and commenting underneath it in the fucking thread, right?
Yeah.
It always happens. Yeah, I know. But yeah, if you want to look at the details, the details are there available, but they know most people are not going to look into it. Now, man, it's not really it's not an excuse. You know, that's why I was saying earlier, for me as the consumer, I don't give a shit. You know, they can fucking do whatever they want. As long as I'm benefiting, as long as I'm the one that's benefiting and not having to pay an extra penny out of my pocket, that's fine. However, though, if you really go back and you look, man, you know, because I was reading I was reading something over here. It says, you know, about holding the industry back or locking the items on that platform. Yeah, sure. I understand that, but that's how these big companies work too, man. You know, there's leverage. You know, if you really go back to the back and forth emails between them, you know, when they were talking about it, Epic is like, well, we're not changing. And Sony's like, well, we got 100 million players that we have over here. So what do you want to do? Right. And then Epic comes back and they're like, okay, we'll put tournaments. We'll make you guys look like this. We'll make you guys look like this. So
Epic did everything they could.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. There is something to be gained on both sides, guys. And really, the whole issue is this is going to happen. Whether it's the phone that you're carrying or the fucking monitor that you're looking at or the TV that you're buying, this type of shit happens all the time between these companies. It happens all the time. You know what I mean? So and this is just the first time we are seeing it. But for years, we've never seen, we've never cared, unless like something sneaks out. So whatever.
It just makes me wonder if Sony is also doing this with Capcom and Square Enix for Final Fantasy 14 and Street Fighter. Those are crossplay with PC and PS4 and PS5. So you can imagine.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we don't know because we're not privy, as we were saying, right? We're not privy to all those documents, but it certainly wouldn't be surprising, right? I mean, there's no way that Sony's only doing this for Epic, right? They're obviously doing it from a business perspective.
Yeah, now when they call each other best friends.
It's not just that, too. If you look at I'm sorry, I know we've been on this topic, but there's also that thing where it says that in order to do crossplay, you have to meet a certain quota. The game itself has to meet a certain quota in PSN revenue, right? And if it crosses a certain quota, then you would be relieved of that monthly charge that you're supposed to be giving. I can't remember what the post was, but
there is a chart.
Yeah, remember that chart?
Yeah.
So there is a certain quota. I mean, but that's the thing, right? And the whole conversation, Dan, why it was, in their defense, why it was being made a big deal is because this type of quota isn't going to affect the big games. It's not going to affect Fortnite, Warzone, Call of Duty, whatever the fuck it is, right? All that stuff is they're going to meet that quota monthly, and they're going to be completely, they don't have to technically pay Sony for the crossplay. But the other games, the smaller games, that might be the ones that people are complaining about. Those are the ones that might have to be subject to that, to that monthly charge or whatever it is until they meet a certain number.
And it could be developers that don't have the billions.
Yes,
exactly. That they're making, like the Warzones, like the Fortnite success.
Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that kind of on them for not making a game that people like? I mean, I'm just saying, if you put out a quality product, people are going to buy the shit. I'm sorry, that's how business works. That's how business works.
Are you?
Let me say, do you know that the McDonald's doesn't have the McDLT anymore? You know why? Because
you're saying that because they're not as big as Fortnite or Warzone, they don't deserve to have crossplay because their games suck.
But you can pay the money, right?
What are you doing?
But you're paying such a small percentage of if you're sold like $100 worth of stuff and somebody's like, well, that's $15 you got to give us or whatever it is. Because you bought it somewhere else, which I don't understand if that even happens. Like, I've never bought something on my Xbox that I went over to PlayStation and said, oh, I got all this, everything carried over. So
that's anecdotal. That's you. You can't use your own experience.
But I'm saying I am the majority here. We're
not selling enough lemonade to sell these cups.
Of people, right? But we have the topic as a discussion topic, right? So obviously it's somebody either, it's pertinent, I guess. Yeah. It's a big story, but it's really, you know what? As consumers, it doesn't affect me because I don't play Fortnite.
Exactly who it is affecting.
It's not affecting me.
That's what I said. You're only looking at yourself. You're not looking at consumers.
But why would you look at anybody else? Who cares about John across the street that's paying extra money for V-Bucks? I don't give a shit.
Look at the comment on the screen. Jay Ritty, him and his friends play crossplay all the time. I know for a fact Joe and Luke play crossplay all the time.
Yeah, Joe and Luke. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. All I'm saying is that if you go and where does Luke play? On his Xbox, probably, right?
PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, right. He plays a lot of
Outriders. Like, we're playing our MLB Show League, and it's crossplay. Right. Some people are on PlayStation, some people are on Xbox.
Right, but they're not going to go and buy, stubs on Xbox and then jump over to PlayStation and use their stubs.
Joe does. He's told me he does. He's played games on both platforms. So
because it's cheaper.
What? I didn't hear you.
Because don't bunch me up with that D-back. Joe cracks me up. No, because it's cheaper on Xbox.
Oh, I don't know why. I think it's just saying he told me he does it. See, he just said I do. He's right here in the chat.
But ask Joe, why does he do that? Because it's got a discount on it through Game Pass.
It doesn't matter why he does it. It doesn't matter.
I'm telling you, this is such a blown out of proportion thing. Like in the news.
I agree. Look, I agree. But I think it's only that, Dan, because Sony's the only one doing it. If everyone did it, I don't think anyone would care.
I think it's because they're not, like I said, they're not Xbox. They have to protect these smaller revenue streams. As a business, that makes sense. And we said that, it's not, they can't afford to go out and buy Bethesda for $7 billion. They can't afford. Yeah. I'm just saying it's a whole different approach, and we're okay with whatever it is until it doesn't even affect us, for the most part, and then all of a sudden it becomes an issue because it's bad optics. It's like, look what Sony's doing. Oh, this is garbage.
Yeah, it's just it's really a company having it, like making its cake and eating it too.
Right. Just if nobody saw these documents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Right. Yeah, I know. Matter. So nobody would be saying, "Look, Sony's bad."
No, but
Sony's
bad. Hold on, because the conversation about Sony and crossplay has been a conversation for years now.
Yeah, because they gave some bullshit reasons earlier on.
That's exactly what we're talking about. You guys are saying it wouldn't be a conversation if we didn't.
Ains, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your initial quote. What was it that you said?
So you guys just said it wouldn't be a conversation if we didn't see these documents, but it has been. We've been talking about Sony blocking crossplay for years.
No. We're talking about this specific conversation about paying. Now we know why. Yes, that's what I should have been more clear. That's what I meant. No, what you're saying, absolutely, yeah, of course. We knew that a long time ago.
And the same thing Dan said, right? This doesn't just apply to Sony. Microsoft has done this stuff. Nintendo don't even get us started on with the copyright and the stuff they do. So I mean, they all do it. We're not saying that. I think what we're saying, or at least here, I'll sum it up this way. Okay. I understand why Sony's doing it. I don't blame them for doing it. They're a business, everything you guys said. But at the end of the day, it is having an impact, a negative impact on some players. That's it.
Absolutely. That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with you, Dan. You're not talking about 80% of players. It's a small percentage. But it's still some people are being impacted.
You know what, man? Let me just who's calling out Xbox but not Sony? I don't understand, dude. Like, nobody's calling out Xbox but not Sony. It's a conversation. It's just a conversation. Okay, like
they all do it in some form.
I mean, everybody does it, dude. Nobody's calling out anything.
We literally just got done calling out Sony for.
That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah,
we just got done calling out Sony for bad optics, and all of a sudden, like, well, how does Xbox fit into this? Nobody's calling them out. Jeez.
Sarko super chat. This is perfect timing. Insert pithy and ironically witty comment here. Sarko, thanks, man. Appreciate the super chat. All right, this went way off larger than I expected it to.
This is great, though, man. Yeah, this is great.
This is the most in-depth conversation I had on this ever.
It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit news that we get into, and people run with it without actually understanding what the whole thing is behind it. And I think that's garbage. Because it's always, one company or the other did something wrong. When they're all doing it, something to that,
that's the thing is,
my whole thing is, look, man, and everybody just wants to listen to opinions to tag you, right? It's like, if you have an opinion, this is the way Twitter and YouTube works. As soon as you give an opinion, everybody wants to tag you about what your about where your allegiance is. I don't give a fuck about either one of them. There is no allegiance with me. It's who provides me a service and how I pay. Now, going back to that, right? Going back to why I ended up saying that is because, again, we were talking about optics, right? Yes, of course it looks shitty. At the end of the day, Microsoft is not your friend either. No. Nintendo is not your friend. Nintendo is charging you $60 for fucking old games, and you have no problem paying them. 30 million of them are being sold every single year.
Breathe, Mo.
I'm just saying, bro. There is no exception to the rule. You still paid Microsoft $500 for the console, and you're still paying them $15 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, and you're still buying games from them and using their services. Every single company makes money off of you. There is no good friend. Just because Phil Spencer plays video games, it doesn't mean he's your friend. It's optics. He's a gamer. I love the guy. He's great. Yes, yeah. Phil Spencer, great. Jim Ryan, shitty. Yes, okay. But at the end of the day, it's all optics. It's how they can sell you the service. You are a piggy bank. And that's all you are, and that's all you ever will be. And until the day you go to Phil Spencer's house and cut a fucking Thanksgiving turkey with him to disprove me, then fine. Like, enough with this shit, man. Like, you have to be Xbox, PlayStation, Democrat, Republican. Get out of here with that. Who cares? No, just enjoy it.
Yep.
Someone cut this, man.
Even video games need labeling. I don't want to be labeled. Here's my 2 consoles. Here's Master Chief. Don't label me.
I'm looking for a white flag. I need hosting help.
I think
I'm
Master
sorry,
Chief-
man. I just lost my shit. I'm so sick of this labeling with gaming. Like, we don't need
I think Master
labels.
Chief in the background just like held up his gun real quick and was like aiming a little
Oh.
bit. He was like, let me just see this guy out real quick. He's talking way too much right now.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Do not label me. I will buy anything and everything I want. I don't want to be labeled. And fuck Nintendo. I'm not buying their $60 remasters.
You already bought like 9 of them.
Yes, I did, but I'm saying it now.
Oh man.
Oh my god, man.
Right.
Ooh, I'm sorry, guys.
So video
Oh,
games.
I'm so
They're relaxing.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, I can't top that rant.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it,
That was
man.
the show today, guys.
It was great.
Ugh,
Yeah, I don't even know where the hell we are right now. I'm lost.
I'm lost.
Oh,
That was good stuff.
Well, what in all
Can't get it out.
in all seriousness, and we talk about this all the time offline, you know, no matter the goodwill, no matter what's happening, at the end of the day, you know, Mo is 100% correct. These are companies selling you a service. Stop thinking they're your friends. They're not. Sure, some will do things that are on visually better. Some things will do things that are visually worse. Sometimes companies get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. At the end of the day, they're all still have a bottom line that they're trying to improve. That's it.
Mhm.
All right. Bitcast, Sarko said Bitcast 165 is going to be Naked and Afraid with Mo. I'm not hosting that one.
No.
I'm off that week.
Yeah.
I love you, Sarko.
Call somebody.
I love you, Sarko. Oh, man.
All right. So let's move on to Jesus Christ. Let's move on to one of the more exciting things of this real quick. And that was in all this documentation, getting away from all this bullcrap we just talked about, right? There was a document showing game releases.
Mm-hmm.
And Xbox had to show, well, multiple companies had to show their game releases, but Xbox, they had this document. I don't know if you guys saw it, right? It was a spreadsheet. Every game was about a line item like that big, right? Like a single line. And it showed all the releases that have come out, right? And then it showed the rest of 2021 into 2022. And there were blocks, like page blocks that were redacted, that were blacked out because they obviously legally haven't announced those games yet, or have them on a scheduled release date. And so from an excitement standpoint, I thought that was really great because we've been talking for obviously a long time now about when are all these games going to start hitting. And it definitely sounds like they have some surprises coming that may be sooner than we think, because there were a lot of games that were blacked out on that list. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, just big blocks of like text are just completely blocked out, which I was like, wow. Okay, we're messing around here. When's E3? Another month? Okay, I got you booked now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's always the hope, right? Is that you see a lot of good stuff at this big show. So we'll see.
Yeah, I saw that thing. It's every single game that we've already seen and heard of. You know, I mean, like everything redacted. I'm like, what is the point of this? What is the point of this document if everything that we already know exists is not redacted? So
exactly,
you know,
initially
I felt cool for getting it. You know, I remember I emailed Ains. I'm like, hey, look at this. And then I looked at it. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's kind of funny, right? Because you have to imagine that they know all these documents, like the emails, right? We talked about our public record, right? So they know they're going to be shared. So my mind was like, I wonder what has to go into that for them to tell the court legally, hey, we'll provide these documents, but there's a lot of things we haven't formally announced yet that we're not ready to announce. And I wonder what goes into that. I just found it interesting more than anything else.
Let alone like the judge leaks all like the games are coming out because he's a game.
The judge knows all of Xbox's next 2 years.
He's like, you guys don't know nothing yet.
Well, he could gain 100,000 followers on Twitter just by creating an account and start leaking all these Xbox games.
Start his own YouTube channel.
Oh man. All right, let's quickly wrap up Xbox and PlayStation and some of the things that happened this week. So Xbox real quick. Shout out to Luke and Xbox Expansion Pass on this one. He actually hit me up. So he interviewed two of the guys from Limited Run Games last weekend.
Yes.
And Limited Run Games actually signed an actual partnership with Xbox last year in 2020. And they said it's just kind of getting over all those humps and conversations and all the red tape, if you will, to finally start working here. But they already have ideas. Like, they've already created like special editions for Doom, right? For the Switch and for PlayStation. And they've already done some Double Fine games, things like that. And they were basically saying, yeah, as soon as we get the go ahead here, there's going to be Limited Run game stuff being produced for Xbox, which is awesome. So shout out to Luke on that scoop. And the only other thing, you guys can touch on that too, and I know, Mo, that's good news for you and us degenerates. But Xbox too, the FPS boost. So 67 new titles or 76 new titles, I forget. But up to nearly 100 titles now getting the FPS boost. And that is just one of the best. I'm not even going to get a start again, but that's one of the best free things in theory that Xbox has done for old games and preservation, right? Is FPS boost and auto HDR. It transforms older games, so it's really cool to see them continuing with that. So
Anthem, baby.
Yeah, Anthem 60 frames. What do you know?
That's as close as you're going to get to Anthem 2.0.
Haynes, correct me on this. I thought that the games themselves that get FPS boost maintain the same resolution as before.
Not always.
But see, that was my understanding. Just because they kept Watch Dogs and Far Cry 4 at sub 1080, the way they were on the Xbox One. So I thought, I'm like, okay, if there's a game on the One X that's, let's just say, like Anthem ran in 4K at 30 frames on the One X, right? So my expectation was that it was going to stay in 4K, and obviously this thing's a beast, so it'll be able to handle it at 60, right? And I obviously don't know the tech behind the way that they do it. I just know that it has no developer input at all. But yeah, man, I was kind of. I love the fact that they're doing it, but man, for Anthem, I was like, for some reason, that game in particular just really disappointed me that they kicked it down to 1080.
Yeah. And I know Jason Ronald commented on that. I know a lot of games do maintain the resolution, like like Prey, for instance. I was playing it; it's like a brand new game. Anthem is a lot smoother. It's really nice to play, but you do notice a resolution hit. So I don't know all the specifics around when they FPS boost. What it's exactly doing in the hardware and coding. And where it has to take a resolution hit. I don't really know. But yeah, he did say that some games will lower resolution if you turn it on. And I think that also is why some of the games FPS boost is on by default, whereas other games like Anthem, you have to turn it on yourself because it gives the customer the choice of do you want the higher. It's like, do you want the higher resolution or do you want the frames?
Yeah, that's it's so beautiful though, man. Damn,
it's amazing looking.
You guys have a treat with the Assassin's Creed games being at 62, the older ones, like the Ezio trilogy.
I heard it's great. Did you try it?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, those are. I just started like replaying the Assassin's Creed franchise this year, just going one a month, and I started playing on PC, but going through like Assassin's Creed 3 and then Black Flag all on 60 frames. It's oh my gosh, it's a much more enjoyable game.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, even the Ezio trilogy, the Ezio collection. Granted, that's already in 1080p, but that's nice, man. That's
it's much better at 60. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Reddy said, these are like free remasters in some cases. I mean, there really is that big of an improvement.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hell, we've seen paid remasters that have let us down more than this.
Oh god, that's so shitty, man. It really is the truth. I swear to God.
Yeah. Let's touch on PlayStation real quick, guys. So this is an interesting one, right? A month ago, 5 weeks ago, we're talking about Xbox or Microsoft buying Discord for like $11 billion, right? That falls through. Discord says they're going to stay individual for now. And now PlayStation comes out this week out of nowhere and says, "Oh, hey, we're doing a minority investment. It's not a huge investment, but it's a minority investment in Discord. And we're going to integrate our PlayStation 5 platform with them in 2022. Now, they haven't, unless, and I know Joe was in the chat, he might know better than me, but I hadn't seen any detail on to the extent at which this integration is going to be, right? Like, I don't know if it's going to take over their ridiculous party chat system on the PlayStation 5. Don't even get me and Mo started on that. Terrible. God,
not wrong. Not wrong.
So bad,
man. Every game of Returnal we wanted to play whenever we were pairing up. Oof,
Yeah, we were like, wait, it says I'm in the party chat with you, but we're not. And wait, I'm still in one from 3 days ago. Like, But anyway, so I don't know if like Discord is going to take over that, like the actual full-on communication, or what this looks like yet. But if nothing else, it's interesting. Joe is in there. He said there's no detail yet. It's the fucking worst. It is party chat on. I don't know how you redesign a full UI top to bottom and you still can't get party chat right. On Xbox, it's one button. You
so
literally push X,
so easy,
and you're in a party with a friend. Like, I don't know what they're doing over there, but anyway,
it's super confusing.
Yeah. So, but this is cool though. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. Is the point, I guess, for Discord to have a positive impact on PlayStation next year, and it's kind of hilarious that this came full circle from Xbox to PlayStation in the matter of a month.
Yes. You were talking about a full acquisition to now, we're partnering up. We're partnering up and a minority stake or something. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a 180.
Bizarre. So I don't know. I know I'm not a big Discord user. Dan, I think we talked about this before. Dan doesn't use it. Mo, Hector, you use it?
Yeah, I mean, we just use it over at Lords of Gaming just to chat or whatever. But like, I mean, I see this more as like an opportunity if I'm able to do this kind of thing, where I say I record like a gameplay footage for me for like a walkthrough for Lords of Gaming, or like maybe just like a how-to or something, and then upload that into a Discord chat and then put that into an article or put it into the chat for like, you know, the writers or something like that. I feel like that can be really cool if they can pull off something like that. But I'm not really a huge user, but I think it'll make things a lot easier for people that stream on YouTube at the same time. You know, that kind of integration can be really good instead of having it linked to your YouTube account, linked to Discord and stream from there, or maybe you could link them both and stream from both sites. And that could be all on your console. That's super convenient.
That would be. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So that's awesome. And Diego, shout out Diego, makes a good point too. If you didn't catch Trophy Room with our brother Joe and Kyle over there, they did have Greg Miller on, which was just awesome. I actually was at I had the day off yesterday. I had to run some errands and I was listening to it while I was out and about. So he's saying they made some great points on there as well, which you're right. So definitely make sure you catch that episode because that was a bucket list item for Joe and Kyle. I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Congrats to them, man.
Great.
Last thing I want to touch on is, we talked last week about Xbox and PlayStation fiscal results. And, by the way, going back to our lovely conversation on companies, hey, they're both making record revenue at our expense. So, we're funding.
Now we can't say they're dying. God.
I know. Xbox has no games. PlayStation's dead, and yet they're making record revenue. It's crazy. Nintendo came out and just said, "Oh, you thought you guys were cute, right?" God, Nintendo. We knew this was going to happen. We joked about this last week, didn't we, Dan? Like Nintendo's going to come out and just be like, "Oh, by the way, we've sold 9 billion more units," and they pretty much did. So they are now at 84.6 million units in 49 months. They're selling faster than the Wii and the PlayStation 4. They're going to be the fastest console probably in history to hit 100 million sold. Their revenue is now at nearly 17 billion for the year. That's up almost 40% year over year. And it's the highest revenue they've had since 2009. So it's the second highest revenue year they ever had, and it only missed being the highest by like a small amount. But more interesting within that is their profit. So revenue is their total money they're taking in, right? Their profit, they made over 6 billion just in profit, which is their highest ever. And the good news here is they're investing, because we always joke about, God damn, Nintendo spends some of that money on fixing some of the negative aspects of your ecosystem. Yeah. So they're investing the most they've ever invested in research and development, which I hope goes to some things that are meaningful. Nearly 1 billion they're putting into research and development over the next year.
Okay.
But one surprising thing, which I laughed at when I saw, is that physical sales are still the majority for the Switch, 57.2%, which I know me and Mo are applauding for. I don't know where Hector stands on this.
No, yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah.
Oh, damn, we got you. 3-1.
That's because most people that are buying this are parents, and they don't even know that digital things exist. That's what happens. man, that's a small cartridge. They open it up. They're like, what is this little thing? I remember when they were like this big. I played a video game for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then their son's like, you could have just installed this. You didn't have to go buy this little thing.
Right. I mean, they're probably tearing apart the box going, where's that Mario Kart game? I'm supposed to come with it. It's not in it. This is insane. I mean, just insane. I think, if they continue this track, I know that we're having the chip shortages, but the good thing is you can build the Switch out of stuff you can find in your garage. So they're going to be perfectly fine. It's going to be insane. I cannot believe how much they are selling still. And
not wrong, man. They got me with that. If the Switch Pro is rumored to have that OLED screen,
yeah, of course
I'm
it
in,
is.
man. I'm in, bro.
Yeah.
And they sold, this is not a joke. It sounds like a joke sometimes when you're talking about Nintendo.
Yeah.
They sold almost 11 million more copies of Super Mario Kart 8.
You just took it out of my mouth. Yeah.
Wow.
That game came out in 2017.
No, it was before that, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, it was, because it came out on the Wii U.
Yeah, it was on the Wii U.
Well, no, are they talking about the Switch version? Mario Kart?
Yeah,
well, yes.
So you're right. They are talking about deluxe, but I think the point being is that it was already just a
yeah. But that's the thing. Like, that's the kind of staying power their games have, and that's why their games continue to be $60 3-4 years down the line, is because they know people want to pay for them. And on top of the reason why the physical 2 Ains is, for some reason, the Switch games themselves, specifically like rare games like from Limited Run or whatever, they tend to just have they tend to have a higher value than PlayStation games or Xbox games in general. So there's a lot of people, including myself, there's a lot of people that just that's why they keep that's why there's so many of them that buy the physicals. But
I was talking to, we were talking about it in our chat the other day, but I was saying, I get the digital aspect, and in comparison, right, we know from PlayStation's records that 65% are now digital on PlayStation. So they're almost 2/3 digital, whereas Switch is more physical. But to your point, Mo, whether or not, people like us are buying it for that reason or not, when you look at what these physical games are worth in the long term, it's astronomical. Like, if you haven't looked, go back and look at GameCube or Nintendo 64 games now, like mint copies with the box. They're going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so you have to think Switch games, in theory, would be even more rare, right? Because back in the Nintendo 64 days, there was no digital. Everyone had physical, right? Now you only have, you have 50% buying physical. So there's automatically less of them out there. It's going to be interesting to see, like 10, 20 years from now, how much Switch games are worth. I
think the Switch itself, look, man, this is just on topic and off topic. I think it's just become such a monster, right? It's that Nintendo itself. I think this is the first time, at least that I can remember, that the Nintendo is synonymous, right, with the console that they're with a specific console, right? Like, especially nowadays, if you say Nintendo, if I tell my wife Nintendo, she's not going to know Nintendo 64 or GameCube. She's going to tell me Switch. Yeah. If I say Nintendo in front of her mom, my mother-in-law, she's gonna tell me, oh, the Switch, right? And I think it's such a monster nowadays that it's gonna be so hard to even see if they can even ever move past the Switch, right? Like, especially with so many people buying up all these games. Like you said, they're still selling 10 million copies of Mario Kart 4 years later, right? So it's incredible. So if they keep
4 years later for a game that was already a re-release. Right? Yes, and PlayStation and Xbox would kill to have their first-party game sell 10 million total.
In the total.
Like, if you have an IP that will sell 10 million copies, that's a huge win for them.
Full price.
Yeah,
full price.
There's no denying that Nintendo is like the Disney of gaming. Really, like they and they know it. That's the worst part. They know it.
Yes, they
don't care.
They will sell you that 3D Mario collection for a limited time because they know that they can get you. They got me. My copy's right there. It's right there. So I know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So they know it, man. They don't give a shit. They know you're gonna pay it.
It goes exactly back to our conversation. And they're a business. They're the kind of childhood nostalgic. They have kids as customers, obviously, lower usability, all these things. The family friendly console. At the end of the day, the decisions they're making, they're business decisions.
That theme park's gonna be insane, bro.
Yeah, that looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually does.
What an excuse too to go. I mean, besides the multitude of excuses to go to Japan, what an excuse that would be to go to Japan. Fuck COVID, man. It ruined everything. God damn it.
Cloud, what's up, brother? Good to see you.
Oh,
Cloud,
shit.
you finish while we're wrapping up here? Did you finish Resident Evil Village? Let us know. All right, fellas. So we're getting ready to close out here. This has been a hilarious conversation today. I want to shout out a bunch of things because there's an awful lot going on for us. So a bunch of new videos on the site, a lot of collectibles this week. So Doom Limited Run Games Bundle, Helmet Bundle, that's up on the site, channel, excuse me. Mass Effect Legendary Cache with Shepard's Helmet, that's up on the channel. We've got Resident Evil Village Collector's Edition from GameStop going up soon. The review for Resident Evil Village will be coming this week. Keep an eye out for Cast Co-op Episode 4. We actually recorded it Thursday night, but there's an issue with the damn file. So we're trying to work through that. Hopefully we can salvage it. And also still testing out that Bluetooth controller for iPhones and Android devices for xCloud and things too. So look for that this week. So an awful lot coming this week.
Oh, yeah.
And then coming up here shortly, like I said, if you're tuning into this in just a little over an hour, we're going to be on the Iron Lords channel for a Mass Effect debate between Mass Effect 1 and 2. It should be hilarious. Make sure you jump
I can't wait for that one, man.
But let's go ahead and close out. Hector, I'm going to shout over to you first, man. Where can people find you? I want to say thank you for coming on. It's been great having you. It won't be the last time, man. You're always welcome. But thanks for coming on, and where can people find you?
Yeah, man. No, thanks for the invite. It's been a blast, man. It's kind of like a dream come true in the sense of like finally being featured on Season Gaming here. I've been following you guys for a little bit after Iron Lords podcast, man. It's been really cool, man. I love what you guys do, and the reviews are just outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
I would say they are just an awesome like inspiration for me to really get in depth with these game reviews, because speaking of, I'm also reviewing Resident Evil Village for lordsofgaming.net. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting through that. But yeah, man, follow me on Twitter at Boricua Macho, BORICUA Macho. I post my gaming reviews. I also am a co-host for the Dual Shock and Sense podcast, where we run every Thursday or Friday, just run through the PlayStation news and just all these sort of topics. So definitely catch me there. Yeah, man, just have a great weekend, guys. And again, thank you for the invite. It was a blast. Love it.
Of course. Yeah, we'll put all the links to Twitter and the podcast and the show notes as well, of course. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mo, I know our audience knows where you can find you because we're always doing stuff together, but shout it out anyway.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, everybody, for being in the chat, listening to the rants and and everything else. And obviously, Ains, you and Dan, man, thanks for having me again, dude. It's always a pleasure being here. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, the Backlog Chronicles, the Backlog _pod is where you can find it on Twitter. And we're usually live on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. So yeah, I hope to catch you guys there. Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah.
That'll be in the notes as well. So thanks for coming on, brother. Always appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
There you go, Dan. You've got a crossplay buddy. Got it.
I don't even regular play with buddies.
Yeah, no offense, Jay Reddy. He don't even play with me, for God's sake.
I barely if my game is connected to the network, it's a miracle. You know, I don't think I've shown online for like 7 years.
Dude, I was playing last week and it popped up that you were online, and I did a double take. I'm not even joking. I looked at it like, wait, is that Dan?
Yeah. Quick story. I was changing my avatar, I think, and I accidentally hit something on my app, because the Xbox app is fantastic, and it made me appear online. And then because I always lie to Greg, right? Like, I was like, hey, he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. I'm not at home. Well, you just popped online. I'm like, shit, what happened? I mean, that never happened. So I was like,
You get busted, man. You gotta be careful with that.
One of my kids must have signed on.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, immediately I went back. I was like, I gotta fix this thing.
That's too funny.
Oh man, it was terrible.
But all right. So we're gonna see Recliner Dan every week going forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some stuff. I gotta figure some stuff out. Like, literally, I don't know if you saw it. Like, right in the middle, the dog came downstairs and tripped on my cord. And like my whole thing just went like, I almost pulled my computer off the small table I have sitting right in front of me. So I gotta figure some stuff out. But yeah, I mean, super comfy. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm digging it.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Just you need a nice fancy jacket too. Just
I'm going to, smoking jacket.
Weird,
yeah, maybe like a bubble pipe or something.
Bubble pipe.
Yeah, with bubbles coming out of them. Yeah, I'll figure something out.
There you go. There you go. Cloud already finished Village. Done.
What a beast!
There it is.
Nice.
What a beast!
Nice.
Good shit, man.
Now go get some sleep.
Now we play 4 or 5 more times to get everything in that game.
A piece of wheat.
Good
Good thing is, here in Kansas, it's all over the place. I'll just go across the street and grab it.
That's a good one, man. That's great.
Oh, man.
Where are you from, man? He's a wee. That's awesome.
All right, guys, we're gonna head out of here. Thank you so much. That was Bitcast 153. If you enjoy the show, please give us that thumbs up. Please tell people about the show. But we'll see you next week. Peace, guys.